Gentlemen, I want you to picture this. Tomorrow morning, you wake up feeling that familiar surge of vitality and firmness that you haven't experienced in months, maybe even years. No expensive pills cluttering your medicine cabinet, no awkward devices hidden in drawers, no risky treatments with uncertain side effects. Just your own hands, a few minutes of precise, gentle stimulation, and the wisdom to activate your body's own natural erection mechanisms. I'm Dr. Lila Romano, and I've spent over a decade as a practicing urologist helping men just like you reclaim their sexual confidence and vitality. Today, I'm going to reveal 3 specific pressure points that can help restore those dependable morning erections by improving blood flow, relaxing the right muscles, and enhancing nerve responsiveness in ways that work especially well for men over 50. If you've been missing that automatic morning rise that once greeted you without fail, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where these pressure points are located, how to stimulate them safely and effectively, and how often to practice this technique for real, lasting results. But first, let me address something that many of my patients struggle with in silence. If your morning erections have become less frequent, weaker, or disappeared altogether, you're absolutely not alone, and you're certainly not broken. In my practice, I see this concern from nearly 60% of men over 50, and it climbs to over 75% for men past 60. The shame and frustration that many men feel about this change is completely understandable, but it's also completely unnecessary. Your body isn't betraying you. It's simply responding to the natural changes that come with decades of living. The good news is that these changes don't have to be permanent or irreversible. What I've learned from treating thousands of men is that the body retains a remarkable ability to respond and recover even after years of decline. You just need to know how to communicate with it in the right way. That's exactly what we're going to explore together today. To understand why these pressure points work so effectively, especially for men in their later years, we need to first understand what's actually happening inside your body as you age. Because once you grasp the science behind it, you'll realize that what we're doing isn't just pressing on skin. We're strategically activating one of the most sophisticated systems in the male body. Erections aren't random or purely mechanical events. They're the result of an intricate coordination between your brain, spinal cord, blood vessels, nerves, and muscles working in perfect harmony. It begins with nerve signals, tiny electrical messages that race from your brain or sensory receptors down to the erectile tissue at lightning speed. These signals instruct the smooth muscles inside the penis to relax, which allows blood to rush in and fill those spongy chambers called the corpora cavernosa. As they fill with blood, the veins that normally drain blood away become compressed, effectively trapping the blood inside and creating that firmness you're seeking. Now, here's where age fundamentally changes the game, and this is crucial for men over 50 to understand. Over the years, the blood vessels in your pelvic region naturally lose some of their elasticity. Think of it like a garden hose that's been left in the sun for years. The walls become stiffer, less flexible. This process is accelerated by factors like mild inflammation, high blood pressure, or simply the accumulated wear and tear of decades. Simultaneously, nerve conduction begins to slow down. Those electrical messages from your brain don't travel quite as quickly or as powerfully as they once did. It's like having an older phone line instead of high-speed internet. The message gets through, but not with the same speed or clarity. For many men over 50, there's also the factor of gradually declining testosterone levels, which affects both the frequency of spontaneous erections and the sensitivity of erectile tissue to arousal signals. Add to this the reality that many senior men are taking medications for blood pressure, diabetes, or heart conditions, medications that can further impact erectile function, and you begin to see why morning erections become less dependable. This creates what I call the perfect storm of aging: sluggish circulation, slower nerve signals, hormonal changes, and potential medication effects all working together to make those once reliable morning erections feel like a thing of the past. This is precisely why targeted pressure point stimulation can be so remarkably effective, particularly for men dealing with age-related changes. When you apply the right pressure to specific points, you're essentially sending an immediate wake-up call through your nervous system that bypasses many of these age-related slowdowns. Here's the fascinating part. When you press or massage these carefully chosen spots, you activate clusters of sensory nerve endings that feed directly into reflex pathways connected to erection control. These signals don't just stay localized, they travel to what's called the pelvic nerve plexus and even up to the sacral region of your spinal cord, which houses your body's erection control center. This triggers a remarkable chain reaction. Your nervous system tells the smooth muscles in the penis to relax, instructs the arteries to widen, and encourages blood to flow more freely. But the benefits extend even further. Many of these pressure points also directly influence your pelvic floor muscles, that hammock-like group of muscles that support the penis during erection and help control the flow of blood in and out of the erectile chambers. What makes this approach particularly valuable for senior men is that it works around the common roadblocks of aging. Instead of relying solely on your body's natural arousal triggers, which may have become less reliable over time, you're giving your erectile system a direct, hands-on boost. Think of it like having a backup generator for your home. When the main power source isn't working at full capacity, you have an alternative way to get the lights on. The beauty of this approach is that it's completely safe for men with common health conditions. Unlike medications that can interact with heart drugs or create dangerous drops in blood pressure, pressure point stimulation works with your body's natural mechanisms. It's gentle enough for men with diabetes, heart conditions, or high blood pressure, yet effective enough to produce noticeable results. When practiced regularly, this type of stimulation can actually retrain your erectile reflexes, improve blood vessel flexibility, and enhance nerve sensitivity over time. You're not just addressing the symptoms, you're helping to restore some of the youthful responsiveness that your body still possesses. Now let's move into the practical application, starting with the first pressure point I call the base groove. This powerful spot sits right at the root of your manhood, at the exact junction where the shaft meets your pubic area. To locate it accurately, run your fingers along the underside of the shaft, moving toward your body. You'll discover a subtle groove or indentation, almost like a natural hinge where the visible erectile tissue blends into the deeper structures anchored within your pelvis. This area might feel slightly different from the rest of the shaft, perhaps a bit firmer or more textured, and that's perfectly normal. It's actually a sign that you've found the right spot. For men with limited mobility or arthritis in the hands, I recommend positioning yourself comfortably in a warm shower where the heat will have already begun to soften your tissues and improve blood circulation. Alternatively, you can lie back in bed with a pillow supporting your lower back for comfort. Why is this particular spot so powerful? Beneath the skin here lies an incredibly dense network of sensory nerve endings, including branches of the dorsal nerve of the penis, along with crucial blood vessel junctions that feed directly into the erectile chambers. Think of it as a central hub where signals from your nervous system and your circulation converge and communicate. By stimulating this area with gentle but deliberate pressure, you're essentially lighting up both your nerve pathways and your vascular system simultaneously. You're encouraging better communication between your brain, your spinal cord, and your erectile tissue, exactly what becomes less efficient with age. Here's the precise technique that works best. Position your thumb directly over the base groove while your other fingers cradle the shaft for gentle support. This gives you better control and prevents any uncomfortable pressure. Start with moderate pressure, enough to feel the tissue beneath your thumb responding, but never to the point of discomfort or pain. Make small, slow circular motions, allowing the warmth of your touch to gradually spread through the area. As you work, you can gradually increase the firmness of your pressure, especially as you feel the tissue beginning to soften and become more responsive. Many men notice a pleasant warmth developing, sometimes a subtle tingling sensation, or even a sense of fullness beginning to build. These are all positive signs that blood flow is increasing and your erectile tissue is becoming more responsive. If you don't feel much during your first few attempts, please don't be discouraged. Sensitivity in this area often needs to be gradually awakened, especially if it's been months or years since you've experienced strong morning erections. Consistency and patience are far more important than intensity. For optimal results, I recommend working on the bass groove daily in the morning, ideally while you're still relaxed in bed before the stresses of the day begin. Spend about 90 seconds here. Maintaining that steady, circular pressure that feels both purposeful and comfortable. Over weeks of consistent practice, this simple but precise technique can help retrain your erectile reflexes and restore some of that reliable morning firmness you thought you'd permanently lost. The second pressure point takes us to an area that many men overlook entirely, yet it's absolutely crucial for erection strength and control. This is the perineum, that soft, slightly springy patch of tissue located between your scrotum and your anus. In terms of sexual health and erectile function, this hidden area is truly a powerhouse. The reason this spot is so effective lies in what's directly beneath it, the bulbous spongiosus muscle, which is one of the key players in maintaining firmness once you're aroused. Think of this muscle as a natural clamp that helps trap blood inside the penis during an erection, preventing it from flowing out too quickly. Over time, especially with age and reduced physical activity, this muscle can weaken significantly. When it's not functioning at full strength, it becomes much harder to maintain strong, lasting erections. The wonderful news is that by applying targeted pressure and massage to the perineum, you can reflexively activate and strengthen this muscle without doing a single formal pelvic floor exercise. For seniors who may have mobility concerns, positioning is important for comfort and effectiveness. You can either sit comfortably in a supportive chair with your feet flat on the floor, or lie back with your knees slightly apart, whatever feels most natural and accessible for you. Using two fingers, your index and middle finger typically work best. Press gently but firmly into the center of the perineum. You're looking for steady pressure that you can feel reaching the underlying muscle, but never so firm that it causes discomfort. Remember, we're working with tissues that may be more sensitive than they once were. Move your fingers in slow, deliberate circles, staying centered in that sweet spot. As you massage, pay attention to any sensations that develop. You might notice a gentle warmth beginning to radiate toward your penis, or a subtle pulsing sensation as blood flow improves in the area. Some men describe feeling like the entire pelvic region is waking up during this process. This is one pressure point where spending a bit more time really pays off. I recommend 2 to 3 minutes of steady, circular massage. Keep your touch controlled and purposeful. You're not just rubbing the surface, you're communicating with the deeper muscle structures. What makes this technique particularly valuable for senior men is that it addresses one of the most common issues I see in my older patients: weakened pelvic floor muscles from years of sitting, reduced physical activity, or simply the natural muscle loss that comes with aging. By regularly activating this area, you're not just improving immediate blood flow, you're actually training the muscle to contract more powerfully during natural arousal. Many of my patients find that this perineum work also has unexpected benefits for prostate health. The increased circulation and muscle activation in this area can help reduce the sense of pelvic tension or discomfort that some men experience with age. For maximum effectiveness, I often suggest pairing this massage with some gentle, conscious breathing. As you press and circle, take slow, deep breaths that allow your entire pelvic area to relax and respond more fully. Our third and final pressure point targets one of the most nerve-rich areas of the male anatomy, the corona, which is that distinctive ring-like ridge where the head of the penis meets the shaft. This area contains an extraordinarily dense concentration of sensory nerve endings, your body's primary messengers for sending arousal signals to the spinal cord's erection center. For senior men, this point requires a particularly thoughtful approach because nerve sensitivity can change significantly with age. Some men find they're more sensitive than they once were, while others discover they need more stimulation to achieve the same response. The key is learning to work with your body's current reality, not fighting against it. When this area is stimulated with the right balance of pressure and rhythm, it can dramatically heighten nerve responsiveness, making it much easier to transition from the first stirrings of arousal to a full, firm erection. Think of it as fine-tuning your body's arousal circuitry so it responds more efficiently and reliably. However, this is also the area where less is definitely more. Too much intensity or pressure can actually overwhelm these sensitive nerves and create the opposite effect you're seeking. For men over 50, whose nerve responses may already be somewhat unpredictable, a gentle, controlled approach is essential. Here's the technique that works best. Gently take hold of your manhood with your thumb and forefinger, positioning them on either side of the corona ridge. Very lightly pinch the ridge. We're talking about the gentlest pressure possible, just enough to make contact, and hold for about 5 seconds. Then slowly release. This isn't about gripping or squeezing. Think of it more like the way you might hold a delicate piece of fabric between your fingers, present and purposeful, but never forceful. Repeat this gentle hold and release action for about 1 minute, making sure to keep the pressure consistent and comfortable throughout. If you have arthritis or reduced dexterity in your hands, you can modify this technique by using just one finger to apply gentle pressure to the corona ridge, or by working on just one section at a time rather than trying to encircle the entire area. After that first minute of hold and release work, transition to slow circular motions around the entire circumference of the corona. Let your fingers glide just enough to stimulate those nerve endings without creating any friction or irritation. This second phase of circular work helps awaken the sensory pathways even more thoroughly, encouraging faster and more reliable signal transmission between your penis and your brain. What I find remarkable about this pressure point is how quickly many men notice changes in overall sensitivity, not just during this exercise, but throughout their intimate experiences. Regular, gentle stimulation of the corona in this controlled, rhythmic way often leads to stronger morning erections and improved responsiveness during intimacy. The key word here is gentle. This is especially important for senior men who may be taking medications that affect nerve sensitivity or who have conditions like diabetes that can impact. Peripheral sensation. Always err on the side of too little pressure rather than too much. Your nerve endings will respond better to consistent, gentle stimulation than to sporadic, intense pressure. The real magic happens when you combine all three pressure points into a single, purposeful routine. This isn't about treating them as separate, isolated techniques, but rather as components of one comprehensive system designed to awaken your entire erectile response network. Here's the sequence I recommend to my patients for maximum benefit, specifically adapted for men over 50 who want to create lasting, sustainable improvements. Begin with the base groove for about 90 seconds, using those small, steady circular motions we discussed until you feel genuine warmth and responsiveness developing in the area. Don't rush this phase. It's setting the foundation for everything that follows. Next, shift your attention to the perineum for a full 2 to 3 minutes, using that firm but comfortable circular pressure to activate your pelvic floor and encourage deeper circulation throughout the entire pelvic region. This is where patience really pays off for senior men, as it often takes a bit longer for these deeper muscle responses to fully engage. Finally, complete the sequence with the corona work for 2 minutes, using that gentle hold and release technique followed by the light circular motions to reawaken optimal nerve sensitivity and signal transmission. Done as a complete sequence, this routine stimulates blood flow, engages essential muscle support, and sharpens nerve communication, all three critical elements needed for firmer, more dependable morning erections. The total time commitment is just 5 to 6 minutes daily, which makes it easily manageable even for men with busy schedules or limited energy in the mornings. I particularly recommend doing this routine in a warm shower when possible, as the heat naturally enhances blood flow and makes all the techniques more effective. For men who prefer evening routines, this sequence works beautifully before bed as well. The relaxation and increased circulation it promotes can enhance the natural erection cycles that occur during sleep, setting the stage for stronger morning responses. Now, I want to set completely honest expectations about what you can realistically expect from this routine, because managing expectations appropriately is crucial for long-term success, especially for senior men. This is not a magic button that transforms everything overnight. Your body needs time to adapt, to retrain those blood vessels, muscles, and nerves to work together harmoniously again. The changes we're encouraging are physiological ones that happen gradually, building on themselves over time. However, what I consistently see in my practice is that men who commit to this daily routine typically begin noticing subtle, but encouraging changes within 2 to 4 weeks. These early improvements might include increased warmth and a sense of fullness in the mornings, erections that last a bit longer when they do occur, or a general feeling of increased vitality and responsiveness in the pelvic area. For men over 60, or those dealing with multiple health conditions, the timeline may be slightly longer, perhaps 4 to 6 weeks before changes become clearly noticeable. This isn't a reflection of failure or inadequacy. It's simply recognition that bodies that have been dealing with circulation or nerve challenges for years may need additional time to respond. The key is understanding that each small improvement builds on the previous ones. Your first week might bring just a subtle increase in morning sensitivity. Your third week might add some increased firmness. By week 6 or 8, many men find that these individual improvements have combined into genuinely reliable morning erections. Individual variation is significant, and that's completely normal. Some of my patients notice changes within days, while others need several months of consistent practice. Neither response is right or wrong. They're simply different, and both can lead to excellent long-term results with patience and consistency. While these pressure points are remarkably effective on their own, they work even better when supported by lifestyle habits that are particularly important for men over 50. Think of these as the foundation that makes your pressure point work more effective and longer lasting. Hydration is often overlooked by senior men, yet it's absolutely crucial for optimal circulation. Many men in their 60s and 70s don't drink enough water throughout the day, which directly impacts blood volume and circulation quality. I recommend aiming for at least 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, spread throughout the day rather than consumed all at once. Gentle, regular movement is another powerful ally. You don't need to become a marathon runner, but even 15 to 20 minutes of daily walking can significantly improve pelvic circulation and overall cardiovascular health. Swimming is particularly excellent for senior men because it's easy on the joints while providing comprehensive circulation benefits. Sleep quality becomes increasingly important with age, yet it's often compromised by various factors. The deep sleep phases are when your body naturally produces testosterone and engages in tissue repair. Creating a cool, dark, quiet sleep environment and maintaining consistent sleep and wake times can dramatically improve the effectiveness of your morning pressure point routine. Nutrition plays a crucial role as well, particularly foods that support circulation and nerve health. Dark leafy greens, berries, nuts, and fatty fish like salmon all contain compounds that support blood vessel health and reduce inflammation. For senior men, I particularly recommend foods rich in vitamin D and B vitamins, as deficiencies in these become more common with age and can impact sexual health. Many senior men are taking medications for blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, or heart conditions. While these medications are important for overall health, some can impact erectile function. Never discontinue prescribed medications, but do discuss with your doctor whether there might be alternatives with fewer sexual side effects, or whether the timing of doses might be adjusted to minimize impact. Stress management becomes even more crucial with age, as chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, which directly interfere with testosterone production. Simple stress reduction techniques like deep breathing, gentle stretching, or even just spending time in nature can significantly support your sexual health efforts. As we work with these pressure points, there are several important safety considerations that are particularly relevant for senior men. First and foremost, these techniques should never cause pain or significant discomfort. If you experience any sharp pain, stop immediately and consult with your healthcare provider. For men with heart conditions, it's important to remember that any activity that improves circulation and potentially leads to erections does place some demand on your cardiovascular system. While these pressure point techniques are much gentler than medication-induced erections, if you have significant heart disease, discuss this approach with your cardiologist first. Men with diabetes need to be particularly attentive to sensation changes. Diabetes can affect nerve sensitivity, so you may need to use lighter pressure than other men, and you should inspect the areas you're working on regularly to ensure you're not causing any tissue irritation without realizing it. If you're taking blood thinners, be extra gentle with all pressure point work, as your skin and underlying tissues may bruise more easily than normal. Start with very light pressure and increase gradually only if there are no signs of bruising or irritation. Watch for warning signs that suggest you should stop and consult a healthcare provider. Persistent pain or soreness after using these techniques, any unusual swelling or discoloration, skin irritation that doesn't resolve within a day or two, or any sudden changes in your normal urinary patterns. Remember, these techniques are meant to enhance your natural function, not override significant medical conditions. If you're experiencing complete absence of morning erections along with other symptoms like fatigue, mood changes, or significant changes in urination, these could be signs of underlying health issues that deserve medical attention. Gentlemen, I want you to remember something fundamental. Age does not mean surrendering your vitality, your confidence, or your intimate satisfaction. Yes, your body changes over the decades, and yes, some functions may require more attention and care than they once did. But your capacity for sexual health, pleasure, and connection remains very much alive. What we've discussed today isn't just about morning erections, though those certainly matter. It's about reclaiming a sense of control over your body, understanding that you have natural, safe tools available to support your sexual health, and recognizing that your best intimate years don't have to be behind you. Your body still possesses remarkable healing and responsive capabilities. The pressure points we've explored work because your nervous system, your circulation, and your muscle function retain the ability to be awakened, trained, and improved. You're not trying to turn back the clock. You're working with your body as it is now, helping it function at its current best potential. Every time you take these few minutes for yourself, you're making a statement that your sexual health matters, that your confidence and vitality deserve attention and care, and that you refuse to simply accept decline as inevitable. If you found this information valuable, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more practical, science-based advice specifically designed for men's health after 50. Your questions and experiences in the comments help me understand what topics matter most to you, so please share your thoughts below. In next videos, I'll be discussing the connection between prostate health and sexual function, including some simple techniques that can support both. It's information that every man over 50 should have, presented in the same straightforward, practical way we've used today. Remember, gentlemen, your sexual health is an integral part of your overall well-being. By taking these small but purposeful steps, you're investing in your confidence, your relationships, and your quality of life for years to come. I'm Dr. Lila Romano, and I want to thank you for trusting me with your health today. Take care of yourself, because with the right knowledge and consistent action, your strongest, most confident mornings are still ahead of you.